Hi, my name is Madison S. with MyPracticeTestPrep.com, and this is the last video in the three-part free video training series, Secrets to Passing the CLEP, the fastest and easiest way to prepare and pass the psychology CLEP exam, guaranteed. Now, for those of you just joining us, in the first video we covered what is the CLEP and why you should take it. In the last video we covered what's on the psychology CLEP exam and where to find the best free study guides. And then in this video, we're going to cover secrets to passing the psychology CLEP and where to find the best free practice tests. Now, feel free to skip around or watch all three as needed. But by the end of this series, you're going to discover the fastest and easiest way to prepare and pass the psychology CLEP exam to help you graduate faster with less student debt and jumpstart your career. So with that out the way, let's go ahead and get started. Now, by the end of this three-part free video training series, you'll learn what is the CLEP and why you should take it, what to expect on the CLEP psychology exam, past test takers exam-specific feedback, where to find the best psychology CLEP study guides, where to find the best psychology CLEP practice tests, what's a passing CLEP score, my other secret tips and tricks, and finally, my fast and easy 3-step secret to passing the psychology CLEP exam guaranteed. Now, we have a lot of information to cover in a short amount of time, so I have to talk really fast, but you can always re-watch this video or read the unabridged version on my website at bit.ly/CLEP psychology. Now, that is case sensitive, so please be sure to use all lowercase. Again, that was bit.ly/CLEP psychology. So with the formalities out the way, let's go ahead and get started with the training. How do I practice for the CLEP Introductory Psychology Test? The two most popular options are purchasing the premium online Peterson's CLEP Practice Test or ordering the printed RIA CLEP Practice Test book from Amazon at amzn.to/RIA Psychology. Now, that is case sensitive, so please be sure to use all lowercase. But either option you go with, both will include 3 practice tests per CLEP exam for about $20. Now, again, there are several free CLEP practice tests available online, which you can find by doing a simple online search, and you can usually find some samples that include about 10 or 20 questions or so. And I'm going to provide you some free resources shortly. But I always recommend you go with at least one premium service because they're the most complete, up-to-date, and resemble both the format and type of questions you're likely to encounter on the actual psychology CLEP exam. I also recommend you check out the official CLEP study guide book from Amazon at amzn.to/CLEP book. Now, while it's incorrectly named CLEP study guide, it should be named CLEP practice test because it doesn't include any study guide information. That was a big pet peeve of mine when I first got it, so I just want to pass that information along to you so you're not surprised too. It is the only CLEP practice test created by the actual test makers for all 33 exams. Now, a special note, there's only 1 practice test included per exam as compared to 3 with the Peterson or RIA option, and there's no explanation to answers are provided. You're just simply given the question and the answer key, and so you don't know what you got wrong or you don't know what you got right if you were guessing on one without doing a web research. But like I said, the advantage is it's the only test created by the actual test makers for all 33 exams. So if you're taking multiple tests, this serves as a great book so you can kind of test on multiple exams. Anyway, whatever option you go with, it will cost you about less than $20. And while no CLEP practice test, not even the official CLEP practice test, will be the exact version you have on the actual exam day, they do help to familiarize you with the format and type of questions you're likely to encounter on the psychology CLEP exam. I like to use practice tests as indicators of if and when I'm ready to take the CLEP test, so that I'm more confident when I go in on exam day. I know how long it's going to take me and what score I'm going to get. Now, for those of you who are new to CLEP exams, or if you've only taken a couple in the past, I've put together a 10-step study plan to help you study for the Introductory Psychology CLEP test at bit.ly/CLEP psychology, all lowercase. Because for those of you who know my story know that I was basically able to test out of my first 2 years of college by simply using CLEP in Dante's exam. And so during that time, I had gained a lot of experience, and I learned how to master to study the shortest possible time to get the highest possible score. And you can too. Just go to my website, bit.ly/CLEP psychology. Free Introductory Psychology CLEP test. Now, a lot of times I'm like, Madison, where can I find some free psychology practice tests? And my best advice is to always check with your local library first. Even if your library doesn't have any CLEP books, many libraries have agreements with libraries across towns and sometimes even in different cities. Also, don't forget to check with your college or university's library to see if they have any CLEP books. In addition, many libraries subscribe to Nelnet. Now, for those of you who don't know, Nelnet is the company behind Pearson. So you can get the online Pearson CLEP practice test for free. And, and like I said in the previous slide, these tests are usually $20 per exam. And so that was actually how I was able to take a lot of practice tests for free just by asking my friendly librarian what CLEP preparation resources are available. Also, for those of you in the military, you get to take the Peterson's practice test for free, and I give you that link at bit.ly/CLEP military. If you're a spouse of somebody in the military, I wouldn't see a problem with having them register, and you can just use their account. So, as a special thank you to your service, military service members and their spouses get to take the Peterson CLEP test for free, which you can save hundreds of dollars if you're doing multiple exams. So now for those of you who don't have access to one of the above resources, or if you're just looking for more practice test questions, because you can't go wrong there, I've compiled a list of free additional psychology CLEP practice test questions at bit.ly/CLEP psychology. Because what a lot of people don't know is another great resource for practice tests are psychology textbook companion websites. Now while they don't resemble the format of the actual CLEP, they do go deep to help ask you multiple choice questions chapter by chapter by chapter about concepts you might find on the CLEP exam. Because remember, the makers of the CLEP test base the exam on what you would normally learn in a psychology undergrad course. So companion websites serve as great supplements to test what you should know to what you actually know. Now, while they're not testing to the exam, they do help you to go deep to explore concepts that you might not find otherwise. Plus, companion websites give a great additional study guides and supplemental resources. Now, I will give you a word of caution, okay? Because like we said, the questions will be different than what you encounter on the CLEP exam. They're not teaching to the exam. They're actually teaching to the concepts that you should learn anyway. And while many of you will say, well, Madison, that's a waste of time. But what I found after taking dozens of exams is that nothing beats confidence. Because companion website quizzes require you to use critical thinking to answer them and then go research any incorrect answers, it forces you to actually start to understand the topic, which is huge. You want to understand the topic. Because while I know I'm seen as the biggest advocate for, testing out of college and studying the shortest possible time, I don't want you to misconstrue that and just study for the exam. I want you to study to understand the topic. Because what I found is that the secret to passing any CLEP test is to understand the topic. Not just memorize a bunch of facts you're going to forget the minute you walk out the exam. Because when you truly understand a topic, you can answer any question you encounter on the actual CLEP exam. Again, you can find that free practice test resource at bit.ly/CLEP psychology, all lowercase. What is a passing psychology CLEP test score? After you complete the 90-minute, 95 multiple choice CLEP psychology test, you will receive a scaled score ranging between 20 to 80. Each college and university has its own credit by exam policy for awarding college credit. The ACE recommended passing psychology CLEP score is at 50, and I'll tell you what that means in a minute. What I always tell people is that it's important to know that CLEP tests are scored on a curve, with a passing score being the same number of questions correct a C average student will receive on a comparable final exam for psychology. And now while the College Board doesn't release this number, seasoned CLEP test takers usually aim for a raw score of about 60 to 70% correctly answered questions. And I'm also told after talking with some other past test takers that many approximate this particular exam to maybe even be a little bit lower than that because it's more of a memorization test. Those usually lead to a lower curve. So now, depending on the difficulty of the exam, this is usually well above the curve you need to achieve a passing score. I also remind new CLEP test takers that you do not lose points for incorrect answers. So you should always try and answer all questions on the exam, even if you're unsure of the correct answer. This method works best if you can narrow down your choices to 2, maybe 3 possible answers. That way you at least have a 50-50 chance of guessing correct. I just want to take a second to pause right now because this particular technique I'm about to teach you is a very important technique to your CLEP success. Because it took me a couple of exams for the light bulb to finally go off. But what I finally learned is that every question is worth the same amount of points as the next one, regardless of how easy or difficult the question. Now that may seem like a simple concept, but if you're nervous about a particular exam and you can go into the exam and at least get half of the questions, zoom through because they're easy or intermediate to you, then at least you know that you're on track to getting a passing score, and you only need to answer a couple more questions correct to actually pass the exam. Because the name of the exam is to answer as many easy and intermediate questions as fast as possible. So if you come across a question that is too hard to solve, say within about a minute or two, just guess on it, mark it, skip it, and move on. Because you don't want to struggle over every hard question at the expense of not having enough time to answer the easier questions. You can always go back to the ones you skipped at the end of the exam. The name of the game, go for the low-hanging fruit first. Couple of other Madison patent pending CLEP tips and tricks. Number one, manage your time wisely. Depending on your comfort level, some tests you can whiz by and others will come down to that last second. And you should have figured this out during your practice test with either the RIA or the Peterson. So if you know that to be the case, then you always want to select an answer before you skip a question, just in case you don't have time to return at the end of the exam. And I recommend you do that anyway, but because remember, you do not lose points for incorrect answers. So it's better to have something down than nothing. Number two, be on the lookout for questions that answer other questions. Every now and then you'll run across a question that can help you answer another question. And like I usually tell people is that, the CLEP is multiple choice for Pete's sake. So the answer is right in front of you. And if you use this technique combined with process of elimination, it'll help you determine the correct answer for a lot of questions you're unsure of. Number three, bold, red, underline. Because what I want to really pound in your head is that you do not have to get 100% on the psychology CLEP test to score well. It's a curved test, which means you just have to do better than the next person to score well. And usually most colleges only award a pass-fail grade anyway, so it doesn't count towards your GPA. So your goal is to simply pass the exam and move on to another exam so you can test out as many college classes as fast as possible. And trust me, the curve is usually very generous on these exams. How do I pass the Introductory Psychology CLEP test? Okay, we've covered a lot of information, and depending on your prior comfort level, the CLEP psychology test is an easy to intermediate exam to study for, and most students will need about 1 to 2 weeks if it's easy for you, or 2 to 4 weeks if it's intermediate for you, of reasonable study time to prepare. Now, I say easy to intermediate because this is going to depend on how good your current memorization skills are. If you're good at memorizing information, then you can do that in about 1 or 2 weeks, go on to the exam, and do just fine. If you struggle with that a little bit, it's probably going to take you about 2 to 4 weeks to finally grasp some of those concepts, and so you're going to need a little bit more time. And I say reasonable study time, which means it's about 10 to 15 hours per week. And I want to clarify that because I don't want you to study, for an hour or two, go into the exam and fail, and then come back at me and say, well, you said, if I did this, blah, blah, blah. No, you didn't put in a reasonable effort, which is about 10 to 15 hours per week. Yes, it's a serious exam, but it's also a lot easier than taking the course at your college. All right, some final words of advice. The key to any study plan is that you do not get overwhelmed. There's a lot of information to review, and it's not uncommon to feel stressed out and overwhelmed. You might even feel that the more you study, the more you need to study. But remember, these are introductory level courses, so you don't need to go in depth here. Even if this is your major, you just need to get some of that high level information because that's what introductory courses are about. You usually go into those detailed levels in 300 and 400 level courses. All right, so I'm going to give you my 3-step fast and easy way to prepare and pass the CLEP psychology exam next. So that'll help you ace the exam, hands down, no questions asked. Step 1, required. Before you do anything, I want you to study the Instant Search Psychology CLEP study guides and read their exam-specific feedback form. Now, I didn't even have time to get into the form, but imagine being able to talk with other past test takers and get some of their exam-specific feedback of what they struggle with, what they wish they would have studied more, what are some other resources they use. Now, I gave you some here, but I didn't even have time to go into detail of what you'll find in that form. So use the Instant Search study guides because they're the fastest and easiest way to learn this material in the shortest amount of time and help you ace the psychology exam. And many past test takers say that you can pass the psychology exam with this information alone. Again, you can watch my review at bit.ly/IC review. And as a special bonus, I secured you a discount where you can get $5 off your first month just for giving them a try. You just want to use discount code 3014 too. Step 2, Highly recommended. I always recommend you take some practice tests. Now, whether you use the Peterson or the RIA or another option, you want to take some practice tests so you can get a feel for the type of questions, the format, and also how long it's going to take you to pass the exam. Because what I found is that, a lot of times these practice tests help assess your readiness. Now, while they're not the actual questions they have, they do give you a good indicator of if and when you're ready to take the exam. Step 3, optional. You want to sign up for my free Secrets to Passing the CLEP Psychology Study Guides and Practice Tests at bit.ly/CLEP Psychology. This is a great supplemental resource to help give you that extra confidence boost, because Instant Cert will give you that short and condensed method. The practice test will kind of help you fill out some of where you're at. And then this supplement resource will kind of help go into depth of some of those concepts that you might struggle with if you want to kind of get a couple more questions correct on the psychology exam. Well, this concludes the end of this video. And I just want to say good luck, fellow CLEP test takers. Now remember, this is a 3-part free video training series, and I want to encourage you to watch all 3 videos because that's where you're going to get the most benefit. Because by the end of this series, I would have told you everything I know to help you prepare and pass the Introductory Psychology CLEP exam. Now the rest is up to you. So in the words of our good friend Larry the Cable Guy, go get her done. My name is Madison S. with MyPracticeTestPrep.com. What to do next? If you haven't done so already, you're going to want to watch all 3 free training videos to Secrets to Passing the CLEP Psychology exam. And you can find any one of those videos at bit.ly/CLEP Psychology 1, 2, or 3. Now remember, that is case sensitive, so please be sure to use all lowercase. In video part 1, we're going to cover what is the CLEP exam. In video part 2, we're going to cover CLEP study guides. And then in video part 3, we're going to cover CLEP practice tests. You can skip around or watch all 3 as needed, but I do encourage you to watch them all, and that is going to guarantee that you can prepare and pass the psychology CLEP exam in the shortest amount of time. In addition, you're going to want to write down the links on this screen because these are the links mentioned throughout the video training series that's going to help you pass the exam. Step 1, you're going to want to download my free Secrets to Passing the CLEP Psychology at bit.ly/CLEP Psychology. Step 2, you're going to want to watch my Instant Cert CLEP Study Guide review at bit.ly/IC Review. And remember, as a special bonus, I secured you a discount code where you can get $5 off your first month membership just for giving them a try. You just want to use Instant Cert discount code 30142. And last, when you're ready to take some practice tests, you can find them at amzn.to/CLEPbook or another one at amzn.to/RIA Psychology. Also, if you liked this video and you thought it was really helpful, please be sure to comment, rate, share, and subscribe to this page or video. Because that's what tells Google and YouTube that this is a really good video that can help other students learn how to pay for college by testing out of college. So by spreading the message to your family and friends, you help keep this content free for all. Bonus: more great ways to pay for college. Look folks, I am out of time on this video, so please be sure to pause the video, write down the links, and go visit them immediately. Because I give you more great ways to help you find money to pay for college. Through traditional financial aid, scholarships, who can turn down free money, our good old friend student loans, and college coupons and deals that you won't be able to resist. Featured sponsor. I'd like to thank everyone for watching, and also like to thank the sponsors of this video that help keep this content free for you. The featured sponsor of this video is Prosper, America's leading social lending marketplace. I chose them after hearing an interesting news program on NPR a while back, where Prosper Marketplace was a way to connect people who wanted to invest money with people who wanted to borrow money. So basically, instead of going to a big corporate bank for your personal loan, you could post your loan request on Prosper and watch as dozens of members invest together to get you the money you need. Or you could be one of those investors yourself. And this is all done in a safe social lending marketplace. It's an innovative concept where people invest, borrow, and prosper. Please be sure to visit our sponsor at bit.ly/prosperlending. Again, that was bit.ly/prosperlending. And tell them Madison sent you. Well, that's it from me. Peace and love to all.